Good morning, students. My name is Nagaraj Yadav. I am from Computer Science Department. This is the course code in cloud security for the cloud security. So, in this cloud security, this is a very important topic that is legal and compliance issues. In this, responsibility ownership of data. So here, responsibility of data. So here, the data controllers and data pre-processors, very important. So whereas come to data controllers, in the context of data protection regulations, that is the general data protection regulation, the organization that determines the purpose and means of processing personal data are referred to as data controllers. So data control is nothing but here processing personal data referred to as data controllers. So data controllers are responsible for ensuring that data is preserved lawfully, transparently, in accordance with the applicable regulations. Data processors. So here data processors are entities that process personal data on behalf of the data controllers. So they are contractually obligated to handle the data only as instructed by the data controller and to implement appropriate security measures to protect data. So here next is ownership of data. So in responsibility of the data, okay na, we deal about data controllers and data processors, okay na. Whereas to ownership of data, see this ownership of data ownership refers to the legal rights and control over the data. In most cases, individuals or organizations that collect the data are considered as owners. Who is the owners? The data ownership. What is data ownership? So here it refers to the legal rights. Whatever we have legal rights and real owners. So legal rights and control over the data. So we have our data. Okay, I have my own data. So I am the owner of that data. I have legal rights and control over my data. So in most of cases, individuals and some organizations that create and collect the data are considered as owners. Okay, so however, data owners can vary depending on situations, contractual agreements between parties. So the data ownership can be changed depending on the situation. So intellectual property rights. So intellectual property laws may apply to contain types of data such as copyrighted works, trade secrets, and patented inventions. So these laws grants exclusive rights to the creators or owners of the data, enables them to control its use, okay, reproduction and distribution. So here these laws grants exclusive rights to the creators. So legal compliance considerations. Here privacy regulations. If we discuss privacy regulations, the data protection and privacy regulations like GDPR, California Consumer Privacy Act. According to this, okay, or Brazil LGPD impose obligations on organizations to protect personal data and upload individual privacy rights. So compliance with these regulations involve obtaining content of data collection, involves data collection, implementing security measures, providing data subject rights, ensuring proper data handling practices, industry specific regulations. For example, some industries such as healthcare and finance have specific protection regulations that organizations must adhere to. These regulations often require additional safeguards and control to protect sensitive data. These are legal compliance considerations. Okay. Privacy regulations, data breach notification, this is also next, and border data transfer and contractual agreements. Okay, na? So these are all agreements helps to ensure compliance and provide the framework for the data handling security. Data handling and security. If we discuss data breach notification, in these in the event of data breach, okay, data breach, the organization may be legally obligated to notify the affected individuals and regulatory authorities depending on the jurisdiction and applicable laws. So timely, accurate reporting of data breach is crucial for maintaining compliance. Cross-border data transfer. In this transferring the data across international borders may involve compliance with specific regulations such as European US. So privacy shield or standard contractual clauses to ensure adequate protection of personal data. Next, coming to contractual agreements, organizations, for example, organizations often establish contractual agreements with the data processors or else third-party service providers to define the data protection responsibilities, obligations, liability. These agreements help ensure compliance and provide a framework for data handling and security. Next, right to penetration test. Here, right to penetration test is very important one. So here the aim of right to penetration test is to ensure the security and resilience of computer systems and networks by allowing authorized individuals or organizations to assess the vulnerabilities and the weakness of those systems. So the right to penetration test refers to the practice of conducting authorized security assessments. So the computer systems and network are applications to identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses. See, this penetration testing is also known as ethical hacking. So involves simulating real-world cyber attacks to evaluate security postures of an organization's digital infrastructure. So this penetration testing as ethical hacking, it involves simulating real-world cyber attacks. Okay, so for what? To evaluate security postures of organization's digital infrastructure. The concept of right to penetration test stem for the recognition that proactive security testing is essential for organizations to enhance their overall cyber security defense. So, by conducting penetration tests, organizations can proactively identify and adhere vulnerabilities before they are exploited by malicious actors. These practices helps the strengthen the security measures and safeguards in place, ultimately protecting sensitive data and system networks from potential breaches and intrusions. So, and also this penetration test is typically performed by skilled cyber security experts. So, this penetration testing is performed by skilled cyber security experts who employs various techniques, tools, methodologies to identify weakness, assess potential risk, provides actionable recommendations for mitigating vulnerabilities, and also the results of this penetration test can help the organizations in the point of prioritize the security investments, and also improve incident response capabilities and strengthen overall resilience against cyber threats. So, this is important for organizations to establish a clear guidelines, obtain proper consent, and engage experienced professionals when conducting penetration tests. Legal and ethical frameworks, adhering this legal and ethical framework adheres. This ensures that the right to penetration is experienced responsibly, so benefiting the both organizations and the border security ecosystems. So, cloud penetration testing is designed to assess the strength and weakness of the cloud system to improve its overall security postures. Cloud penetration test helps to identify risk, okay, and vulnerabilities and gaps, impact of exploitable and vulnerabilities, determine how to leverage any accessible obtained via exploitations, deliver clear and actionable remediation information, provide the best practices maintaining vulnerability. Type and methods for cloud penetration testing. See, black box penetration testing and grey box penetration testing, white box penetration testing we are using. See, cloud penetration testing will examine the attack, breach, and operably and recoverably issue within the cloud environment. Different types of cloud penetration testing is include. See, these are the cloud black box, grey box, white box penetration testing we are using. So, coming to black box penetration test, attack simulation in which the cloud penetration testers have no prior knowledge of or access to your cloud system. Whereas come to grey box penetration testing, cloud penetration tests have some limited knowledge of users and systems, may be granted some limited administrator privileges. Whereas come to white box penetration testing, cloud penetration testers are granted admin or root level access to cloud system. So, cloud penetration testing can also involve cloud configuration review, that is AWS Azure cloud penetration testing. If you observe this, Amazon Web Service and Microsoft Azure are two of the common cloud based services that organizations use to support business activities in the cloud. So, both AWS and Azure permit penetration testing related to any infrastructure business is hosting on the AWS or Azure platforms. Along with those test falls within the list of permitted services. The rules of engagement for penetration testing on AWS Azure can be found at these links. So, these are the links available. Cloud penetration testing scope. Here, security proposals engaged in the cloud penetration testing will typically examine three areas of scope, that is the cloud perimeter, internal cloud environments, and on-premise cloud management, administration, development infrastructure. The stage of cloud penetration test, the cloud penetration test often takes place in the three stages: evaluation, exploitation, and remediation. The stage one and the first stage, that is evaluation stage. Here the in the first one, evaluation stage, here cloud penetration testing experts engage in the cloud security discovery activities, such as cloud security needs, existing cloud SLAs, okay, risk and potential vulnerabilities, exposures. Okay, in this next stage 2, exploitation. In this, using the information from the stage 1, that is evaluation, and the testing experts combine information obtained during the evaluation with any relevant penetration testing methodologies, focus on exploitable vulnerabilities. This focus will access your environment, resiliency to attack, and coverage of your security monitoring and your detection capabilities efficiently. So stage 3, that is remediation verification. So here cloud penetration tests performs a follow-up assessment to ensure that the exploitation phases, remediations, mitigation steps have been accurately mitigated. So these can be implemented. This also enables the testers to confirm that customers' security postures is aligned with industry best practice. So if we discuss briefly some points, that is right to penetration test is refers to the authorization granted to security proposals, ethical hackers, to simulate cyber attacks and identify vulnerabilities in a system. So several issues can arise between testers and the client during this process. So these issues include concern about granting access to sensitive data, ensuring the security of lost data, potential blame for data breaches, and the impact of testing the system performance and confidentiality. So to address these issues, this critical it is very critical to have your written agreement that clarifies the scope of testing, establish reliability and safeguard against data loss, and defines the responsibility of both parties. So it is important for testers obtain permission in writing, know who owns the system being tested, and ensures compliance with the legal regulations. So overall, that right to penetration test requires a comprehensive approach that prioritizes security, transparency, and adheres to legal requirement. Okay, so this is our class. Okay, thank you all.